his wife's fate, which is really ugly. She was burned to death. And I guess his daughter, who was trying to get a contract, supposedly, whether that's accurate or not, I don't know, on Farrakhan or those people, I don't know. So it was a very ugly period, and I don't think we'll ever know the truth about it. But to get to the movie, Spike Lee really does, it's almost hero worship, isn't it? So, again, I've never seen a good movie like that made about Martin Luther King. In fact, maybe Martin Luther King didn't inspire that kind of loyalty and adulation. But, I think in the Martin Luther King case, you can really say the government, that was an FBI or some secret wing of somebody who was involved in that. That was clearly a conspiracy, and a very ugly one at that. So there was a lot of people that were done in, unfortunately, as worse or as even more tragic than Malcolm X, but I haven't seen any hero worship movie done about him. That's not to say that he doesn't deserve his. I just wonder what Spike Lee is trying to prove here. Yeah.
What happened to the movement after Malcolm X was assassinated? Is there still a presence of black Muslims?
Oh, sure. I mean, they had a Million Man March in Washington recently. Didn't you see that about 3 or 4 years, or maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years ago? They had a Million Man March. Led by Louis Farrakhan as the leader now. We have people on this campus who are representatives of the Black Muslim movement. It's a very strong movement still, but there was a split there within the leadership, and I think a lot of it had to do, as the movie implied, with pan-Islam, that people like Malcolm X found out that there was a greater Islam in which to participate with, and I honestly think that he saw a lot of economic potential in that there was a lot of, let's face it, Saudi oil money and other rich Middle Eastern oil countries that would be willing to give money to somebody who represented Orthodox Islam and not sort of like more of a sectarian cult, sort of Christian Islamic mixture that sort of Elijah Muhammad from an earlier generation. Even his name, Elijah, shows a Christian slant to it to some extent, represented. So I think Malcolm was also a very good entrepreneur, and he saw the economic potential of moving into mainstream Islam, whether it was a really sincere, conscious-driven thing or not. It's up to you to decide. But yeah, there still is a growing Black Muslim movement. I think it's maybe not as strong as it was back then, but I think what the Black Muslim movement represented, I think, was really healthy among Afro-American communities. They were the first ones to say, let's do it ourselves. Let's have our own businesses. Let's not go to Whitey and ask for help. Let's build ourselves up. Let's have Afro-American business. Let's have Afro-American neighborhoods policing themselves. Let's not, depend on the outer culture. And I think that idea of self-help is the only way any community can finally progress to a sense of real pride and dignity, which is what they were trying to encourage. So I think their goals were, personally, I think were extremely admirable in many ways. And if you met people from the Black Muslim movement back in those days, I mean, they would always be perfectly dressed, absolutely, totally polite, extremely, well-behaved and so on like that. And I think that's the way in America to move forward. That may be a Uncle Tom way, but it's something a lot of us don't realize, that every one of us is an Uncle Tom. I mean, look at me. Look at how I dress. I got button-down things. I got khaki pants, Hey, you don't think I'd like to have earrings hanging down from my head, or dreads, or don't think I'd like to come here in a toga or something like that? Or tattoos all over me. I mean, do you think I'm going to get tenure like that? I mean, I might if people are generous, but I'm going to have a lot more trouble. So we all conform. That's part of America, part of the modern world. I'm sure Europeans, look at them. They're all conforming. Every parliament in Europe is dressed, everyone's got a tie on, look at, tie and jacket. So I think the Black Muslim movement understood that. It wasn't a sin to conform. If you look at the Afro-American culture in Harlem back in the 10s, 20s of the 1900s, you see some of the classiest looking people you can imagine. I mean, hey, you know, I've seen the pictures of old Harlem with people walking